Hello, welcome to Late Night with Nikki. I'm very unsure on how I want to approach this. I guess I really just wanted to talk in general. Like, this channel is a lot more for me and my friends having fun and everything, but I like to have one on ones. One on ones, I think, are one of the most important thing you can have with a channel. And I guess if I make a series out of this basically will be it. Late Night with Nikki. But yeah, if you guys want to see more of this, please tell me. I'm basically just here to talk shit or talk what's on my mind or things like that. Talk about things that I had in my mind since certain topic in my life and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, feel free to click away if you don't like this form of video. Feel free to leave a like, feel free to leave a comment. I'm always happy to see any response, to be honest. But yeah, I wanted to talk today about school today. So I remember when I first was in school, when I was in, so I live in Canada and in Quebec. So in Quebec, there's primary school and secondary school, which secondary school is basically high school. So for each primary school, you have preschool, and then after that, you have sixth grade, one to six. And then after that, in secondary, you have one to five. And the fun part about all of this is that you only go to two different school. It's fast, you know everyone, and you know you don't get lost easily. After the first couple months that you're at a place, you know you're there and stuff. Just fun. Well, depending on your family economy or whatever social problem you might have, you might probably will not change school. But for me, I just like to talk about my experience. My experience with primary school was pretty much great in that just because of one of my friends. So one of my first ever friend was a guy. Uh, I'll name him with a fake name. His name, for example, I'll call him Eric. Eric and I didn't really talk to each other for a while until I'd say probably first grade ish. And in first grade, we started really hanging out more and more together. This guy and I were really, really close at a certain point. Until the idiot decided to blow up like some little small poppers that he had in his bag, and just everybody turned around and you see a little line of smoke coming out of his bag, and it was so funny. I adore this guy. But yeah, because of him, I had the biggest courage in primary school. I always wanted to do things because my last name and my first name are very easy to do wordplay with. And as a kid, I really had difficulties with this. And how I got over it was basically to not play along with it. I fought back a little bit. But what I used to do a lot was I used to go towards the most popular kid that I knew. Like, people were just friend with them because they were popular, and that's how they didn't know shit about them, and befriend them. And one thing I used to do was to another guy that I'll name Max. Max, he was the big fighter of the school. He used to fight everyone. He would just punch, 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 and have fun. I was friend with him, really fucking good friend. And we grew apart. Everything was good, but I was only friend with two or three people for entirety of primary school. At a certain time, I had like a gang of nerds ish that I was a part of. I was so stoked. We talk about Beyblade. We talk about small little tech deck, Bakugan, everything that was like really big at that time. We loved it. Even Pokemon. I remember side. I'm getting sidetracked, but I was so dumb that I switched one Reshiram for 500 packs of card because I was so butthurt that I lost my Reshiram on a bad trade. I did not know how to trade. I was trash. But yeah, it go back to the back. Come back to the actual track. Max himself, whenever I started being friend with him, a lot of people like went to him like, "Oh, why are you friend with a reject? Why are you friend with this guy?" I was just there and I was being real with him. Like if I didn't like something they did, I'd say it. If I liked something they did, I'd say it. I encourage him to do stuff. I'd be happy with what I had. We grew apart, and that's when Eric came into play. Eric was big on being like, okay, I got suspended for a little time because of that little popper they exploded, and now he doesn't really talk much with it. I mostly was a reject too, so I decided to talk to him. We had a lot of times where he came to my house and vice versa, and we just had the best of time every day of the week. And I can still remember, there's still this one time, there was a, how do you say this in English? It's called tremblementaire in French. Hold on, I'll tell you that right away. Earthquake. There was a big earthquake where I used to live, and we were in class. Me and Eric were playing cards. We were playing Uno, and the earthquake happened. Everybody was panicking, going under their desk, screaming, and me and him were just like we just looked at each other in the eyes. We had that one look that we don't move. No, we don't move. We will look cool if we don't move, and we did not move. We just looked at each other, one glance, and we already knew what it was. I I feel really happy that at that point in my life, like even primary school when I was 8 or 9, I already knew that like, oh, I might not have a lot of friends, but these friends are here to last. And Eric, he to this day, he's my best friend. He's my brother. We've been brothers for 17 years. And it's hard to describe how our friendship was because it's every day of the week, at least half the week, he was sleeping in my house. Almost half the week. My parents were basically calling him son at this point. And yeah, he saved me a lot of time because later on in his years of primary school, he became really, really popular. And I was the one that was like, oh, I'm not popular at all. Like all the girl, like for me at that time, it was like, ooh, if the girls don't like me, I'm not popular. And I think that's dumb. I don't think you should base yourself on certain standards that other people might have. And at that time, I really, really did not think that way. At that time, I was like, "Oh, I'm scared. They're gonna think I'm a reject. I might hurt. I might hurt Eric's like social status or whatever." No, it's Eric really stood up for me. All the time, he stood up for me, and he kept reassuring me that, "Oh, I don't care about them. All I want to do is have fun. I'm not here to be the amazing Spider-Man or whatever. He's just here to have fun." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And yeah, to this day we're best fucking friend. But that I think that's the best way I've passed primary school was by having my close group of friends, not caring much, just having fun. You know, it's you're young, you're not even a teenager yet. Just try the best to avoid anything you think you don't want to agree with. Like anything you're like, I'm not sure about this. Just don't do it. If you're really not sure about it and you're in primary school, I know you're a kid. I know you're like mentally you're not the most like out there yet. But there's a lot of time where kids are way smarter than you think. Kids are extremely smart, man. And I understood that by myself when I, like at that time, I was like, oh yeah, I will not care. I will just concentrate on my grades. And when I'll be in high school, which is secondary, oh, I'll have tons of friends and I'll have that. And anyway, it didn't work, by the way. But yeah, just try and do your own things. Try and find who you are. You know, that it's, you're a kid, but you know, that by the end of primary school, you'll start to understand. You're like, oh, okay, I kind of like these things and these things and these things. oh, this person also like these things. Oh, we're already friends, and oh, maybe I have like a more of a taste in music than I thought. More like, oh, I like that music. Oh, I like the violin. I like the piano. I like whatever. You know, it's oh, I like country music, that kind of stuff, and that's where that sort of starts. And for me, I like at the start of secondary, which right after primary, secondary, I really fell into Imagine Dragon. Imagine Dragon was like the thing that I felt so good about. I talked to all my friends about it. I talked to my teachers, my parents, my brother, anyone that would listen. And oh, that was great. Oh, talking about transition, I so sorry. It felt in my head. I have like 30 things I think in the same time sometimes, and when I'll say talking about this and I didn't actually say it, that's just because I said it in my head. But yeah, if we talk about transition, when I transitioned to primary to secondary school, I by the end of primary in sixth grade, I was 4'8". It took 2 months and a half of basically just break. In secondary one, which is the first grade of secondary, I was 5'1". I grew so fucking much for no reason, and it was great. It was good. It was like this big growth that just pushed me in the ass right away. And I was so happy about it. Like I felt on top of the world until I saw my friend Eric that before he was I don't know 5'4" or something like that by the end of primary, and at the start of secondary he was 5'6", 5'7", and I looked at him and I was like, I'm gonna just punch you in the balls. I really wanted to at that point. He, man, I love this dude. Like he might not know it as much. I know I'm using a fake name, but Eric, if you recognize you, I just want to say thank you for everything you've done for me. We don't talk as much as I would hope, but I'm not great at reaching out. You have your own life. We're building both of our life right now. Uh, I'm I'm figuring shit out also as much as you are. But thank you for everything, man. Like you're one of the reasons why I kind of pushed back, killed myself. TLDR, if you guys don't like anything that has to do with suicide and all that kind of stuff or bad thoughts, skip this real quick. I don't know when I won't edit really this. Just skip like 1 minute over. I just want to say, dude, you there was a time where in secondary three, I attached a rope in my closet, and so that my parents would not find me. And I dropped myself. And at that point, when I dropped myself, you like I had in my mind both you and my brother, which just shows how much like you've put on my life. Like I've adored you so fucking much. And then after that, I can't say much, but I can just say that my brother knocked on the door, and I told myself I can't do that. I can't do this to him. That's when I on unknown myself basically. And yeah, it was harder to do than to say it because goddamn I was hanging. And I just kind of punched everything and he asked me if I was okay. I was like, yeah, I just fell and my voice was raspy because it was so fucking choked around my neck and it was rough. But yeah, sorry about the quick suicide fact about my life. I struggled a little bit with that, but I think that should be for another episode. And today, let's just talk about school, high school, primary, secondary. For secondary, for me, it was kind of a big like jump. I couldn't figure out the first couple of days. I was lost in my secondary school. I was so lost that I needed to ask like fifth fifth graders at that time. That was like, "Are you like? Do you guys know where my class is?" And they all laughed at me because they're teenagers. Some of them are good. Some of them will just laugh at you and fart in your face, which didn't happen to me. I just referenced a movie. But yeah, a lot of things can happen, man. It's rough. Secondary for me was when every purism teenager thought about like, oh, you need to be this to be cool. Oh no, you need to be this and this and this. At secondary one, I had a talk with my dad, and he explained to me whatever anyone tells you to do in life, that's not information that should stay in your mind. The only information that should stay in your mind is the one that you decide should. So if it does stay in your mind, that means you're really attached to that sentence. That means you need to work on that. For example, for me, I was hold on to this one sentiment that I'm like, oh, I'm short. I'll never have a girlfriend and all that for like 2.5 years. In the end of secondary two, I really thought or I think in secondary three even. It took me at least 3 years. I looked at myself and I really said no. I I looked at myself and said, listen, Nikki, you're a teenager. Go make your research. Go make your research on things. Go think for yourself. Don't whatever someone else tells you. Whatever fucking I don't know Vanessa, the big pumpy girl with all makeup on the face. Whatever she tells you is beauty is not. What do you think it is? What do you think is popular in your mind? What do you love to do? Why should you lower your own self to get to someone's esteem that they cannot care less about above? Also, by the way, I'm French Canadian, so if I say something that like doesn't ring a bell for you or it just doesn't make sense, it's because I'm thinking in French but speaking English. But my point is, if somebody else views you a certain way, but you could not care about that person. Oh, I don't know that. I'll use the same name. That Vanessa, she's the most popular girl in school. Okay, take off the makeup. I don't know. For me, I've never been attracted to someone with extreme amount of makeup. I like them more natural, more beautiful, and like for me, I'm not against piercing, but it's not my taste. Tattoos has never been great of my taste, even though right now my girlfriend is pushing me more and more into like, oh, maybe I kind of like some. It's starting to get better and better, which is just life in general. You will have fuck ups, and sometimes you won't, and it's good. What you should do with those fuck ups is they shouldn't stay on your mind. You should just be like, okay, that was it. That was idiotic. Maybe I can learn from it. And that's it. And yeah, from like in high school, for me, I'm like, oh, all these things. I don't like certain things that are popular, but these people will call me a loser if I don't say that I like them. Well, fuck it. I don't care. It's not like it's not like my life revolves around them. It's not like my friends are telling me to like go kill myself because I don't listen to the new artists that just came out. I don't care. I'm having fun with what I have. And a good example of that is by the end of secondary three, I was starting to be I was starting to be a bit more refined in the face, less fat, and some girls started to notice me more and more. And at that point, I I'm sorry, I didn't bring water, so I just talk without stopping. And at that point, I started to have a little bit of popularity. It was very minimal, but still, I was being noticed. And there was a place called the cafe, the student cafe, basically, where most nerds were gonna go there. Like nerds and everybody that wasn't popular would go there to just play Mario Kart, play Uno, and you know, just stay there. Yeah, did it smell a lot? Yes, it smelled like shit. But were my friends there and was I joining them to play Uno every day of the week? Yeah. even if I had someone popular pass by and recognize me and be like, what the fuck is he doing in there? I don't care. I'm not there for them. I'm there because I want to have friends, like fun with my friends. It's not because a place is bad in someone's mind that it is bad. Like, for example, if you like a restaurant but someone else doesn't like it, okay, sure, suit yourself. I don't care. Like, for me, if I could, I would push away all these thoughts in my head, being like, I don't care what you think. But it is very hard. It is very hard to push these away. And I think most of the time when this happened, you need to try your best and like ignore it. It's very hard, but you'll learn one day. For me, I don't know. I didn't learn as much. Like I to this day, I still really take what people think of me at heart, but I don't say it. I don't say it for some reason. I don't know. I just don't like it. It's different for everybody. But for me, it's like if someone thinks something of me that are very close to me, I'll take it personally. I can't lie, I'll take it personally, but I know that I need to not take it too personally. I need to just be like, okay, what did I do that would have made you think that way? And what do I think about this? Do I think it's wrong? Do I think it's right? What do I think compared to it? And even if you're one of my friends, after a certain while, I'd be like, okay, I was wrong, or you were wrong, or we both have our opinions. That's it. It's not difficult. And that's the same for secondary school. Like in high school, I just look at people like, okay, they live their own life. I live mine. Can they change mine? I could not care. If they want to change mine by becoming my friends and maybe giving me more opportunities for going outside and meeting new people, I'll do it. I'll do it in a heartbeat. That sounds great. But there's some people that I just didn't want to approach. And that's normal. That's okay. I didn't want to approach them. I didn't want nothing to do with them, and that's okay. You choose for yourself. There's people that never wanted to talk to me, and I was like, okay, sure. I don't care about it. Why should people care about that? It's like in primary school, I had that first thought of exactly that, where every guy in my school really like not hated girls, but thought that girls were a plague and everything like that. But in my mind, I was like, well, it's not gonna kill me, just a girl. So, like we were in line. All the girls were in front, and the guys went back, like switching each other because they were scared and scared and scared. And at the end of every time, it was just me on the side of girl, and that's how I became with friend with one of my best friend at that time, which I will call what the fuck? I don't know. I'll call her Eve. Eve and I were pretty good friend. She was like little Eve that I called her, and she was very fun. We haven't talked in years. I hope she's doing very okay. Like, I really do hope she's doing great. Just, I don't know. We've I've never really thought of it as like, oh, it's something disgusting or anything like that. I'm like, no, okay. I made a new friend. Good. That's it. And I left it like that. That's another thing I should do. One of the next theme, because by the way, I'm almost finished with my rant. I just need to go to college because at this point I've went to college a little bit. I loved it. It's just not for me. It's not for me. College is something else. I want to do more than college. Maybe one day I'll go back to it. Maybe one day if I have more motivation about it, I'll go back to it. But for now, I just want to work. I just want to work, make money on the side, and make sure that my girlfriend feels good. That's it. But yeah, college was fun. It's You have way more liberty than you think, and that can crash down on you in one go. But the moment you're starting to get the hang of it, you'll never get it. Because the moment you're like, oh, I'm starting to get the hang of it, boom, 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 you just lost it. And it's rough. But the more you hang on to it, the more it will get better. And that I truly believe. It's currently 1:20 in the morning. I appreciate all of you for listening to my rants. It's been 25 minutes. I'm very sorry. I talked a lot. Maybe next time it'll be less, but for now I just wanted to rant. This has been late night talk with Niki. Is it late night talk? Or is it late night? I don't remember what I fucking called it. This has been late night with Niki. I really appreciate every single last one of you that has joined to listen and to maybe give me some of your parts, some points that you guys may have about your own life. And yeah, I hope you truly do enjoy. One thing I can say for sure is that ever since I started YouTube, I truly have enjoyed every moment I have had here. Every video is always a blast. There's no video that I would go back right now and say I truly did not enjoy making. Every single one that I get a comment or not, that I get a like or not, that I get views or not, I'm sure, but by the end of the day, I can go back and look at it and be like, you know what? I'm happy with what I made. And that's important for me. I truly do love it. Yeah. This has been, sorry for the second outro. This has been Late Night with Niki. I hope you guys sleep well. Have a wonderful rest of the night. And I truly, truly, truly do believe that if you put your heart at it, you can make it very easily throughout secondary, primary, school, high school, whatever you name it, college even, university even. I truly do believe that putting feelings aside and start to think for your own self and reflect for your own self can do you 100 times the amount of good than dropping loads and loads of like, oh, I don't feel good enough, I don't do this, I don't do this, and this, and this. And on this, I was Niki to sleep. Have a great night.